There's 100 or so days of summer vacation when he comes along just to end it. Our class's problem is spreading data and finding a good way to make it. Like maybe Elliot, you and our famous director, or Patrick running on the Zoom. Kate and Eric making the cuts, or Peyton holding up the boom. Zane clicking buttons, making the stuff, or Lachlan mixing the board. Griffin doing sports, Seth saying words, or making our teacher record. Anyways, that's all of the crew, and we hope you all enjoy.
Good morning, Alaska. My name is Griffin.
My name is Seth, and today is Wednesday, March 23rd.
Alaska's longest-serving Congressman, Don Young, passed away this past week. This will result in a special election later this summer to fill the vacant seat. In other election news, ballots were sent out this week for Anchorage's municipal election, so make sure to fill those out and mail them back in. President Biden's Supreme Court pick, Ketanji Brown Jackson, has started her confirmation hearings this week, and they'll continue all week, and she was nominated to fill Justice Breyer's seat when he retires later this summer. That's all I got. Now over to Elliot for Zoom.
Thank you, Griffin. Right now, I'm joined by Dr. Johnson, Mr. Clemmer, and Dr. Allman. It's so great to see all of you guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. We'll start with Dr. Johnson. Do you have any updates for us?
Good morning, Elliot and everybody. Good to see you this morning. Couple things. One is just an update on a couple things in Juneau. This weekend is one of the big education fly-ins. So superintendents, principals, others will be coming down to Juneau to meet with legislators next week and advocate for public education. So that'll be, there'll be a lot of people in Juneau talking about education up in the next few days. The other thing is, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but at the end of April, April 29th and 30th and May 1st, the department's hosting a big symposium in Anchorage around reading and teaching reading. It's called the Science of Reading Symposium. And we already have close to 400 people signed up to go to it. It'll be downtown at the Egan Center. And as you know, learning to read, every kid should have that right to learn to read. And this is just an opportunity to get lots of people together to talk about that and for everybody to have better understanding. So we're hoping parents, students, policymakers, teachers, everybody will show up. So if any of you guys want to go, or maybe we can do a din from the reading symposium downtown. We'll see. I'll talk to Mr. Butterfield. But that should be a good time. Anytime you get a lot of teachers together, good things are talked about. So I'm looking forward to that. And then before I'm done, a couple of history questions. Elliot, what happened in 1839 on March the 23rd?
March 23rd, 1839. Ooh. I'm going to say I don't know. I'm going to look around my studio. Does anybody else have any idea? No. What happened?
Well, I've heard you use this word a lot, and it's the first time this word was used in print, and it's actually not a word. It's the word okay. And it was in the Boston Morning Herald, or the Boston Morning Post, and it is short for all correct is what it was originally supposed to be. And they printed it in the paper and it took off, and that was in 1839. And now we say okay all the time, but that was the first time it was used in print. Okay. And then Dr. Allman, what happened in 1989 on March 24th?
I was 9. My memory of the news at the time was probably not great. Either a stock market crash or an oil spill. I mean, not incredibly positive, but those are the two things I'll go with.
You are a brilliant man. It was the Exxon Valdez wreck happened tomorrow in 1889, which is a huge event for our state and still has implications. So, all right, everybody pass, get an A. Thanks, Elliot.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. I'll go spread the word about okay, because that is really interesting. I never knew that before. Next, we'll go to Mr. Claymeyer. Do you have any updates for us?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for that extra information, Dr. Johnson, as always. I just got back from Juneau, and we were super busy down there. We brought our entire board of NEA Alaska down, and so we probably had 50 or 60 meetings with legislators. I bumped into my favorite person in Juneau just in passing in the hall. I saw Dr. Johnson as he was going in the elevator, and we were so busy we didn't get a chance to connect, but we will at the reading symposium. So it was an incredible visit. It was the first time that we've been able to go down en masse for advocacy work because of COVID. And it was really cathartic for all of our members to be able to connect. I think even for the legislators, we even hosted a reception that was attended by almost a third of the legislators and many of their staff. And the comments that we heard were, this is good to be back together in person. My comments were that politics is a human endeavor, and that's lost quite a bit over Zoom for the last 2 years. And if you're going to make law, if you're going to make policy about schools, which is even greater human endeavor, or just as equally as much, then this is a good thing to have people talking and working together. And I haven't had any significant bills move. We're still working on our priorities of retirement, education funding, and the reading bill and pre-K, mental health issues. But halfway through the session now, things seem to be gelling. Those conversations are happening. More people are talking about retirement than we ever had hoped. More people that weren't willing to engage in that conversation now are. And so I'm also looking forward to leaving tomorrow, actually early this morning, to New Orleans to go to our ESP conference. That's what we call classified employees, education support professionals. And so nationally we'll be announcing our ESP of the year. So that's always excited to recognize the good work. Of course, Alaska's ESP of the year is going down. Commissioner, that reminds me, we still need to work out what the state chiefs are doing to recognize their classified employees nationally and kind of merge that like we have our teacher of the year process, which I was also pleased to get a note from Dr. Johnson's staff inviting me to be in that selection process coming up next month. And I can't believe we're already selecting the 2023 teacher of the year. But anyways, it's all good things and moving forward. And there is a sense of momentum and kind of hope. And maybe that's because of the budget barriers being lifted. It's a little bit ironic and maybe even a little bit terrible that our state benefits from the war in Ukraine because it pushes oil prices up. So I hate that we get a surplus from that. On the other side of the issue, it does allow for us to focus on the important work of education and not just fighting over those dollars. So that said, I also hope that we're able to find some solutions, lasting solutions that allow our finances that we come up with a long-term sustainable plan, because the boom and bust cycle that we do have with the price of oil leads from emergency and crisis to, oh, we don't have to worry about it. And then we never fix the long-term systemic problems. So anyways, that's where I'm at. And thanks for having me once again.
Oh, thank you so much for joining. I know I'm a part of the ASD Student Advisory Board, where students can kind of advise the school board, and I do see a lot of budgets work being done, which is really cool to see a little bit behind the scenes of that. Dr. Allman, I know state basketball is coming up, which I know as members of South High School, I'm excited about that. Do you have any updates for us?
I'll just start with that. We are, thanks to Mr. Stone, we're having a watch party so we can watch our boys basketball team play Kodiak this morning at 9:30 at the Alaska Airlines Center and not have to remove everyone from the school. So that should be just a high point, good morale. We lost an absolute heartbreaker to East. It should be pointed out, our coach Jamal, is an East alum. They haven't lost in 2 years. We were beating them virtually the entire game. Of course, their sharpshooter launches a three in literally the last second of the game, hits it, walks off the court. And so we got second place in the tournament. But I think that's good motivation for us to do well in the state tournament. So we're going to root them on this morning and hopefully the rest of the tournament. And then I think just to expand a little bit to the state level, I think myself and all principals in the next 3 weeks are just doing an awful lot of interviewing of either future educators or folks who are wanting to move schools or move locations or even come to Alaska. And I guess I'm really pleased to report that the average candidate I've interviewed has been pretty exceptional. I haven't found anyone who I don't think could be successful in teaching. And I can say that about a lot of current Alaskan educators because many of them are already employed in an Alaska school district. So that is good news. And since we've been living in the realm of ideas this morning, my morning reading this morning was chapter 7 from Fooled by Randomness, which is actually a book about free markets. But this morning's idea is survivorship bias. Quick lesson is don't just compare yourself to the most successful cases. What's the application of that? Probably social media, where everyone always looks happy on vacation, fit and tan. What you don't see is everyone in bed waking up before they're fit and tan. So just consider the continuum of cases when you are comparing your success to that of others. And you are probably going to be a more successful person for having considered the cases that you don't see. So that's it for me. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
It is. Thank you, Dr. Allman. It is always really good just to have a little bit of perspective in there. One last thank you to everybody, Dr. Johnson, Mr. Claymire, and Dr. Allman for coming on. It always just a great Wednesday morning whenever you guys come on. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Seth for sports.
Thank you, Elliot. This past week was quite exciting as East High School boys basketball won the regional championship over South on a buzzer beater three-pointer. And let me tell you, that was really incredible when it happened. And speaking of basketball, high school state begins today at the Alaska Airlines Center, so go support your high school if you can. Also, some hockey news with former Team USA and Anchorage native Zoe Hickel earned a championship as an assistant coach for Ohio State. And upcoming this week for high school sports includes baseball, soccer, softball, and track. And if you're interested in a schedule, head over to ASD's website, scroll down to the calendar, and then press on sports and activities. That's all I got for sports today. Back to you, Griffin.
Thanks, Seth. I think that's all we got this week. If you have any questions, submit them at southvote.com and follow us on Instagram at SAHSTheDen. And as always, remember to
Keep your claws sharp, Wolverines.